Okay, welcome everybody. Nice summer evening here in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. All right. Yep, buckles are off tonight. As we can see, let's make this a little bit bigger. The Dow right here at the T line closed lower today. Still putting us into a very indecisive state as far as if they can't stay up above the T line, they come back down, we could be in a bearish J-hook pattern. So this was the bounce. The NASDAQ was a little bit more resilient, but it closed right on the T-line today after gapping down this morning. So again, it comes down to one very simple analysis. We need to wake up and see the pre-market futures positive tomorrow. If they're lower, it means they've given up and they're still taking this market down. So I want to be looking at some short positions. However, this market's been relatively neutral in the sense that there's as many good bullish situations as there are bearish situations. This is the transportation index also failing right here at the T line. So once again, very important tomorrow to see where they open things. The big player today was the crude oil prices, and we took profits up here on one very simple reason, I guess. Look where it came from, and look where it went to. Let's get this thing off of here. Right smack dab to the 50-day moving average. So the simple process at that point is you go to the 10-minute chart and see when it's peaked out, what is it doing? If it's starting to back off and trading back below the T line on the 10-minute chart, it tells you it's probably time to take some profits, which we did. Now it's been trading. Oh, this might not even be. Is that? I guess this is after hours. So right now what we're seeing is after hours, after it failed at the T line today, I'm sorry, at the 50, they've opened up much lower. And starting to bring it down. So been watching the 10-minute chart. 10-minute chart looks like they're just now starting to move it back up after selling off in the after hours. So anyways, this is what has moved a lot of the oil stocks, but just observe the obvious. The obvious was when the buy-in started, they took it to the first target. Now there's the potential of a pullback, at least back to the T line, and put us in that in the bobble. Let's see, what else did we work on today? We were short wheat, and we covered that today. Because we're down here near the oversold area, and after opening positive, I'm going to make this bigger, trading down, it came back up through the open. It was told us the bulls were stepping back in, so we closed out the position with a profit. Now we can always reshort it if things start moving lower, which they look like they're doing after hours. And what else are we? Live cattle. Live cattle, we took profits on, and again, this was part of the 10-minute chart analysis. But during the day, it was starting to look like this. So you only had a wedge formation, which told you they weren't taking it up or taking it down. So there's probably going to be some consolidation going on. So we closed out that position and went on to something better. Lean hogs, John, let's take a look at what they're doing. Yeah, it's trying to break out through this level. So there's your J-hook type pattern after your big bullish engulfing. This would be something to go after on positive trading tomorrow. So, all right, and then the other things, gold. Gold looks like it's setting up for a little J-hook type pattern. So notice where the morning star occurred, right here at the 50 and the T-line. They're trading this up a little bit after hours. If they start moving gold positive, that means the next target is your 200-day moving average. Oh, I have no idea if that's a... It's just a fund to trade wheat without actually having to trade wheat itself. Just like you can trade oil on the ETN without having to trade the oil itself. And they should correspond pretty close to each other. The dollar. Dollar. Came back to the T-line. So right now it's bobbing and weaving in here, obviously, but you're still in an uptrend, which makes the euro still in a downtrend as long as they don't bring it back up above the T-line. And I'm trying to think what else were we following. Interest rates. 10-year notes still coming down, which means yields are going up, but it's still in this trend channel, and you have an inverted hammer today. So I'd watch for some buying stepping back in this area. Oh, I don't know how to get the kind of currencies in here because I only trade the dollar and the euro. Japanese yen, that's not it. Anyways, maybe I'll have to find that. I'm trying to think of what else. Soybeans. Soybeans kind of trying to get back up above the T-line, but can't get there yet. And gold, we did. So, all right. So some of the stocks that we have been held, I guess the Nugget, if gold is moving back up, you want to take a look at Nugget and see if that's something to get in on a positive trading, as well as JNUG, which is the double leveraged, well, it's triple leveraged. All right. Oh, the junior miner. So this one is still is a good buy if it gets up above the T-line. When the price is above the T-line, it's in an uptrend. If it's below, and the probabilities are pretty strong that it's in an uptrend. So just use some very simple criteria. If you see a candlestick sell signal and a close back below the T-line, if you're long, you want to be out of that trade until you see another buy signal to close back up above the T-line. Okay, some of the stocks that we are trading, Win is still acting very well. This is your classic J-hook pattern. When the close, yes, you want to see it close above or below. J-hook pattern making this your next viable target. But if this is wave 1, wave 3 could take you all the way up into this area. So still want to stay long on wind. And Douglas, you just stay long on this nice big long-legged doji, bullish confirmation, and you broke this downtrending channel. Likely target is the 50, and very simply, you stay long as it doesn't close back below the T-line. TRTA closed right on the T-line. Makes this very simple. It has to open positive and trade positive tomorrow to stay in it. If it opens lower, basically telling you this downtrending channel is still in progress, and this could be a blue ice failure, which means they could be taking it back toward the back down toward the 200-day moving average. Because if this is wave 1, that would equate to wave 3. We'll get to all of them. Just hold your individual ones until I tell Jim to do the double line. Then you can type in two requests. But a lot of these I will get to because I've already got them on the list here to go over. So ACI, this is why you like the gap ups. Should like the gap ups. Anytime you see that doji gap up, especially when they break through this downtrending channel, where's your next target? Would have been taking some profits right up here today. Again, going to the 10-minute chart. The waves are very simple. On a J-hook pattern, you usually have a wave 1, wave 2, wave 3. What were we looking at? A blue ice failure. Let's go to that one since I remember which one it is. A blue ice failure is kind of that 50 was your support level, broke that. Then they came back up and tested it, and they couldn't get back up above it. So they fail, which means if this was your ice and you fell through the ice and you came up and couldn't find the hole you fell through, you drown and you go to the bottom of the pond, which is your next target, the next major moving average. And so that would also be a bearish J-hook pattern, which means you have a wave 1, wave 2, wave 3. And our J-hook pattern, wave 1 and wave 3 are usually equivalent. So that pretty well makes this one a very viable short, with the next potential target being down here at the 200. And let's see, some of the biggies. Apple still stayed up above the T-line, sold off right on the close, but they aren't selling it off with any great enthusiasm. It's still above the T-line. Amazon sold off, but used the T-line as support. It's still something you want to stay in. Netflix, Netflix backed up, asking the other day, how do you tell the difference between selling and just profit taking? You can tell by the nature of the signal. Remember, a doji is very indecisive trading. So if they're backing off very indecisively, that means that's merely probably some profit taking versus a reversal. But Netflix still has the same criteria tomorrow. It needs to open positive and trade positive to stay in it. If it opens lower, then you're going to have somewhat like a little bearish flutter kicker, which means they're probably bringing it back down to the 50. So you want to close out the position and see what it does if it can come back up above the T-line. AMBA, just barely stayed above the T-line, but it makes for a very good trade. That if this opens positive tomorrow, doing kind of a doji sandwich off the T-line, more than likely your next viable target is the 50-day moving average. So anytime you can see a calculated signal like a positive open doji sandwich, you can pretty well tell where the likely target is that they're aiming for. Yeah, AMBA has earnings tomorrow. So Google was kind of the weak sister of all of them. It closed back below the T-line after trading up during the day, which means that's a weak chart. I would suspect they're going to bring it back at least to the 50. And Baidu very indecisive. More decisive than I thought. Bearish engulfing, failure of the T line. You're still in this downtrending channel. So they could bring this all the way back down into this area. So right now, you want to be both long and short in this market because there's really no decisiveness other than a hard sell-off like we saw in the Dow and a bounce back up. Now it looks like the bounce may be failing and the next wave of the hard sell-off may be in progress. So we also recommended going short today on ADSK. Somebody had pointed this out, I think, Friday afternoon, asking what to do. And if it opened lower, it was time to go short because now you still have that bearish J-hook pattern. And notice what started the downtrend. There was your bearish doji sandwich telling you there was going to be more downside. We recommended BDBD, but we didn't go after it today because it really didn't trade up on the open. And during the day, with the market off most of the day, it wasn't really a day to go after something unless it was showing some exuberant strength. And then, on the other hand, if you did buy this today, with it closing back below the T-line, what did that tell us about this pattern breakout? Now, this pattern breakout looks different on the other charts. This was more of a doji type day. I forgot what I was saying. That's just great. Anyways, if you bought this, this is a typical case, or not a typical case, but this is one of those discipline charts that if you bought on positive trading and it closed back down here, you just close it out because it's not a good trade anymore until there's another strong buy signal. AES or ADSK, yes, you're in the oversold area, but remember, we're not buying stochastics or selling stochastics. We're selling the chart signals and pattern. And right now the chart pattern looks like a bearish J-hook, and our stochastics aren't in the oversold area just yet. So just because something's in an oversold condition doesn't mean it's going to turn around. Let's see. The T-line is this black line. That's your 8 exponential moving average. The red line is your 200-day simple moving average. The blue line is your 50-day simple moving average. This little gray line is your 20-day simple moving average. The black line is the one that works well for trading and swing trading, as well as long-term investing. Just very simple rule. If you see a candlestick sell signal and a close below the T line, you stay short until you see a candlestick buy signal and a close back up above the T line. And conversely, if you see a candlestick buy signal and a close above the T line, you can start going long until you see a sell signal and close back below the T line. So you try to put all these little rules together in formation so that they all add up to being in the right place at the right time. You want to look for the patterns. And here on FLMD, notice the little scoop type pattern. And it closed right smack dab on the T-line today, which means if it opens positive tomorrow, kind of this little scoop pattern is confirming, you can get a slingshot effect coming out of here. And where's your next target? Probably up in this range, which is also filling the gap. SPWH, there was the belt hold, and this one hasn't. This is also telling you, if you see this open tomorrow positive, a doji sandwich, with the potential of the next day being the same magnitude as this candle, that puts you up here, which tells you you've broken out through this one. So this one you definitely want to have on your list. If we wake up and the pre-market futures are showing positive trading and this one's opening positive, you probably want to be buying it immediately. Even on a day trade, the magnitude of that day could be about a point, which would be a good good day trade setup. And that's why we did go after HRTX today, because it had a potential of a doji sandwich on a positive open. Because if it traded positive, what was it doing to this? It was telling us our fry pan bottom is in process of breaking out. The fact that they gapped it up today told you that the fry pan bottom resistance area was not acting as resistance anymore, that we had a good breakout situation. That's all right, Mario. It's recorded, so you can come back and look at it later. So if this is a new breakout of another wave, we can go back and calculate that this wave right here was, I think, 20 points or so. 20 points from here takes us up into the $55 area. So looking at something right here, knowing when the optimal time or looking for a breakout situation, it makes it very easy trading parameters in that you're not waiting for something to finally break out that may or may not be breaking out. It's putting you in a situation where you can be buying immediately and not have to be waiting around for it, that you're in a good trade right from the get-go. Do we need to wait for the correct signal and confirmation, even though it may not happen on the day of the breakout, or we just go for it? That's up to each individual. There's sometimes when buying right in here, knowing that it's heading for the breakout area, allows you to make a good percentage just to get up to the failure area or breakout area. So if you're buying here, and I'm just using this one, if this was a 10% move just to get up to the breakout area, yeah, the worst case scenario is you're buying because you can see the fry pan bottom, and then once it gets up here, you see whether it's time to get out or not. You could still be buying this one, yes. And notice the reason for that, because you have a fry pan bottom breakout with a doji sandwich breakout, and it gapped up through the breakout area. When the market is poor, I will pull back. I will pull. Cornish, you don't want to see something pull back, because you don't know on the pullback whether that's lack of buying anymore. You're assuming, and that's one of the biggest fallacies of investors. They see something move big, and say, oh, I'm going to wait for it to pull back, and then I'm going to buy it, which means they think they have the immaculate entry strategy, that it's going to pull back, and as soon as they buy it, it's going to turn right around and head back up like it was supposed to. That's wishful thinking. I would rather be buying into strength knowing that the pattern is doing what it's supposed to be doing. When a stock moves that much in one day, it seems a bit scary to enter. John, this is exactly why you want to recognize and study what the results are of the charts. This is to get you over the qualm of buying something that's up big. If it's coming off a pattern, if it's coming off a signal, basically it's telling you that signal is confirming with great enthusiasm, and that's going to be your result after that that move. Yeah, Jim, patterns, patterns, patterns. That's because human nature does not change. It hasn't changed over the last 400 years. It's not going to change over the next 400 years. People make their decisions based upon the fears and greed they have when they have their money on the line. RT, if you're talking about this one, no, I'd still be buying this one on strength. If I didn't buy it today, I'd be buying it tomorrow on positive trading. William, 80% of all trades are still being implemented by humans to put it into their computer program. So they're still making decisions based upon, the computers aren't making the decisions. The computers are just executing the decisions. William, I don't know how to provide. No, I just buy when the charts tell me when to buy. Okay. Option, you can buy the options, yes. That's an inexpensive or low risk way of buying a trade. All right, let's take a look at a few more here. FTK, you'll probably see on the recommended list tomorrow. Big, huge belt hold signal, J-hook type pattern. If they open this positive, notice you had an inverted hammer type signal. If they open this positive, it's telling us the top of this trend channel is not acting as resistance anymore. There's probably a lot of strong price move from here. And FCX was one that's been in, I guess, one of the biggies was buying this. Notice what happened on Friday. They took it up and they did profit taking. And what happened today? Pretty much told you the profit taking was over. This is a very good buy on a positive open tomorrow. Because this is our signal, that kicker signal, the breakout of this downtrending channel. Definitely want to buy this on strength tomorrow. Joe, you're going to have to make that decision of whether buying a strong stock. And that's very simple. When do you buy something like this? If it's trading strong, I just flip to the 10-minute chart. If it was right here on the chart, yes, I want to be a buyer. If it was right here, maybe not. I'll wait to see when the next buying comes in, or if they're pulling back. I'd be buying right here. Would I be buying up here? No, not necessarily. Would I be buying here? Not necessarily. So near the end of the day, I wouldn't be buying. But along the way here, I would have been buying based on the 10-minute chart telling me there was buying continuing in that trend. Dave, yes, you could buy the leap. Buying W or Whiting is buying it. The method you want to buy it, whether it's options, leaps, stock, margin stock, that's up to you. Yeah, kind of a mini scoop in here, yes, on Whiting. Okay, bearish J-hook looking like an H. All right. Did I do this SPWH? Look where SPWH closed today and how it closed with a doji right here at the resistance level. Makes it very simple. If this opens positive tomorrow, you want to be buying it immediately. On FCX, if you found it in the afternoon, would you have bought it, or would you have waiting for confirmation the next day recommended, or can you explain your wait? If I saw FCX trading positive and saw it late in the day, no, I just wait for further confirmation tomorrow that it's opening positive. That's what I expect it to be doing. Again, when it opens positive, got that much more confirmation that the bulls are still in effect after this big move here, this big signal. I'd rather pay up for it. I'd rather pay an extra 24, 41, 38 cents, whatever, knowing that I'm moving in the right direction. That's up to you, John. If I saw it open positive, I'd probably, and the first thing I would do is flip to my 5-minute chart or even my 1-minute chart and see if they were continuing that buying. And if so, I'd go ahead and buy. Or to be safe, if I didn't have time to sit here and watch it, yeah, I might put a buy stop just one tick above today's high. Let's see, I'm going to do FMI. No, this is still a fry pan bottom. If you're going to short it for a trade, yeah, it might come back to the T line, but I would still, I think there's better, um, I think there's better places to be shorting versus this one. Let's see. So yeah, John, just as long as you get confirmation. Again, I'd rather be right and make less money on each trade, have a much higher correct trade ratio, and give up some potential profits than try to get all the profits or more profits out of the trade and have my correct trade ratio down lower. Because the more your correct trade ratio is, or the higher your correct trade ratio is, the more the compounding effect of your account is going to occur. Dave, it all depends. If we woke up tomorrow and the pre-market futures were up 130 and I saw stocks opening positive that I liked, I'd probably maybe in within 30 seconds to 3 minutes. If the market opened lower and the stocks were opening positive, you had to wait around a little bit to see whether things are going to settle out and come up higher. All right, let me get to some more FTI. Notice your flutter kicker, notice your scoop pattern, and where did the first profit taking occur? Right here at the 50. So if you're long, you stay long. If it opens lower, you might take profits because you might be in a bobble. If it opens higher, you can still be buying this because if they fill this gap, that means they're going through the 50, making your next target the 200-day moving average. And let's see, J.C. Penney has also done a doji right here at the resistance level. If it opens positive, just even on a day trade, that would be a good trade setup. Or they could be breaking this out into a much higher area. Is bobble could lead to a blue ice failure? No, usually a bobble is telling you that it's coming back up to the resistance level a second time. A blue ice failure tells you once you've hit it and you've rolled over, the T-line may not be in effect at that point. If it closed back below the T-line, now you could start looking for that if it was a failure at one of the major support levels or resistance levels, that you could have a blue ice failure. Where do you find pre-market stats? Everywhere, Charlie, or even if you turn on CNBC or Bloomberg in the morning, it'll show what the pre-market futures are. You can, depending on what your trading platform is, I know TOS has indicators like the YM or the Qs that will show you what they're doing before the market opens. Scoop type pattern in XXIA, that one can be bought, especially if it breaks up through the $16 level. You've got a potential 4-point move after that. Let's see, a few that we still have. I meant to go after or show Whiting again. Scamp, you stay long on this one, as long as it stays above the T line. Whiting has that little mini scoop pattern. I wouldn't be afraid to be buying this one. You just watch to see what it does once it gets to the 50. Oftentimes your recommendations pop on the open, then retrace below the previous day's close. What determines whether you hold? If it comes below the previous day's close, you close it out. Because if they can, they shouldn't be trading back below the previous day. So if I was buying this tomorrow, Whiting, and they were able to trade it back down below this level, that's not the force or the direction that we want to see it moving. You close it out right here. let's see, LPCN. Notice where this one did the kind of the profit taking, right here at the resistance level. But notice where your stochastics are. This is not a shooting star because the stochastics aren't in the overbought area. This was profit taking today. And a very simple rule of thumb is if they open up positive the next day, that means the profit taking's over. You can be buying this. And if this breaks out through this level, now your next target is way up here. Another big move up in about the $22 range. A lot of the oils are coming back pretty strong. LPI, notice the T-line crunch. This is very simple. If they trade this up above the 50 tomorrow, you want to be buying it because that means the T-line crunch has pushed it through, and you can bet your sweet bippy that everybody and their brother is watching to see what happens at this level. We're watching because it's pushing up through. If it does go through, knowing that the T-line was pushing it up, that's probably going to be, if you get in early, you're going to have the benefit of everybody else coming in once they saw it get through the 50. EPE, another little scoop type pattern. Watch for the slingshot effect back up to the 50. SGY, I mean, there's tons of these oil stocks that have turned around. These are all good charts. Now, when I say all good charts, when you see a lot of oil stocks that are trading positive, that doesn't mean some of the traders out there are starting to buy oil stocks. That means the whole market, all the biggies, institutions, big money are starting to buy the oil stocks. And so that's where you want to have your money. We just can see, notice how this one had a doji gap up. More than likely, the next target is up here to the $8 level, which could give you somewhere around a 30% return. And VNR we recommended a few days ago based upon that doji gap up, and notice what it took, got it through the T-line. There's your doji sandwich. Then they gapped it up through this resistance level, consolidated a little bit today, but I would still suspect you're heading for at least a 50-day moving average. MDCO was popped on the open today, but you can see what type of pattern it came out of. There was a belt hold right off the 200, kind of your slow curve. Then they gapped it up through this level. So that told you there was a lot of buying coming in ever since they supported it on the 200. These are the type you can buy with a lot more assurance that when you saw, remember, the candlestick signals are basically identifying what's going on in investor sentiment, and if they're identifying what's going on in investor sentiment, major support and resistance levels, that just gives you a visual analysis much quicker than most other technical trading systems of what's going on exactly at the time that you want to see what's happening at those levels. CLF we recommended a few days ago. Nice J-hook pattern still in progress. We don't usually recommend stocks that are this cheap, but the pattern looked very good because this is your bobble. Failed at the 200 or at the 50, pulled back, didn't really pull away from the T-line, and then came back up through. So now you have the bobble and a J-hook pattern in progress. That tells me if this is wave 1, wave 3 is going to bring us up into this area someplace. And GMCR was the one that we've been holding on, both stock and the commodities, yes, options, because you had the big left-right combo, belt hold type signal, gap up through the T-line, and now you're in the gap area. Remember, when they gap it, there's nobody selling in here because what do most people do when they buy something that goes down? They say, oh, if it ever gets back up to the level where I bought it, I'm closing it out immediately. So that becomes your resistance. And there is no resistance until you get way up past the 50-day moving average. On this one, yes, I'd still be buying the calls on this one. We did HRTX. LXRX. Did a bearish engulfing signal. We're not in the overbought area yet, but this makes it very simple. It has to open positive and trade positive to tell you to stay in this one. If it opens lower, it's telling us that the J-hook pattern trajectory is gone. What's so special about a belt hold? A belt hold tells you they wiped out a lot of sellers. And so now in the move to the upside, there's no sellers in the way. What is the wave 1 and wave 2 and wave 3? Oh, that's just simple wave counts. I'm trying to think. And that's what we expect out of a J-hook pattern. We can see that it's doing a J-hook pattern. So we know that this is wave 1, and are hopefully going into wave 3. Wave 1, wave 2, now wave 3. We know that wave 3 and wave 1 are usually equivalent. So that tells us that if this was a 2.5 point move, a 2.5 point move from here would take us up into the $9 range. Sean, yes, you can buy the ETNs if you like. There's nothing wrong with buying them. I'd just be careful on this one because notice how much it's moved. It's almost moved up 50% over the last 2 days, 3 days, 4 days. There's going to be some profit taking. But this is where you watch to see what oil prices are doing. Right now, oil prices have dropped after hours. Which means there's some profit taking going on right now. Oh, Shaw. So where did the oil prices move? Right smack dab to the 50-day moving average. Where do you think everybody's starting to take profits? Right at that level. And, I think did we do FMI? Yes, no, somebody asked about going short. No, I would be more apt to be buying this one, especially if it came back up through today's open, because that's a fry pan bottom. Fry pan bottoms have expected results, which is usually a very strong price move to the upside, which is why we went after HRTX today, because if it opened positive, we had a doji sandwich, and it would be breaking out through this area. Good, Bill. Good trade. Let me see. There's a few on the short side also. COT is one that if it starts trading lower, it's got the bearish J-hook pattern. And this would be your blue ice failure on a bearish J-hook pattern. If it opened lower, we'd have a wave 1, wave 2. If wave 3 was the same as this one, pretty much takes us down to the 200-day moving average. So that's a very good short setup, especially if it opens weaker tomorrow. Was it the LPI on a T-line crunch? Yes. If this opens positive tomorrow, you can be buying because you've got the T-line crunch pushing up through the moving average. ESPR also failed at the T-line today. Notice the huge bearish engulfing signal at the 50-day moving average. So this is where you observe the obvious. Where did this sell signal occur? At a level that everybody else is watching. Where did it close? It closed below the T-line, which nobody watches except us. And it failed at the T-line. This one is still a very viable short, with this being wave 1, wave 3, let's see, moving from 80 to, let's say, 50, 30 points. That could take you all the way down into the $20 range. And CRTO, another failure. Where is the next likely target? Back down to the lows. So that would be a good percentage move. on this short. And we looked at PRTA, that if you're long, it has to open positive. If it opens weaker tomorrow, you should be out of it immediately, and now be considering going short. The blue ice failure taking you back down to this, down into this area. And BIDU, you can see what the trend is. There's your trend channel with a bearish engulfing. I'd be ready to short this one on any weakness tomorrow. All right, that's about all I've got tonight. So are there any general questions on candlesticks? If not, Jim, go ahead and do the double line. And get ready to do the double line again. Our futures are down 220 right now. All right. If institutions are buying oil, do you think it's for, it doesn't really matter, Nancy. Right now they're pushing oil prices up, except now it's gotten a little bit soggy after hours. So prices, remember, prices do not move based upon fundamentals. Prices move based upon the perception of fundamentals. So institutions aren't any more correct in their trading than you and I, except we're more correct. You don't ever, you very rarely hear of a big fund that's everybody's rushing to because they're doing so well. They all do about the same. Wynn Resorts, another bearish J-hook pattern in progress. You could be shorting this one on weakness tomorrow. And ISRG, this is a little bit iffy also. It needs to open positive tomorrow. Bah. If it opens lower, close out the position and get ready to go short if it starts showing a lot of weakness. Visa, same scenario. A lot of these stocks popped up, profit taking on the short side, people jumping back in. Now the markets have failed. ESPR will probably be recommended to go short tomorrow. AXPW. That's a good little breakout. So once you see a breakout like this, and observe the obvious, this has been a dull trading stock for 2 months, 3 months. Now all of a sudden something's happened. That does two things. Either, first thing it should do is go to the announcements and see what happened in this one today, and then be ready to buy this one on positive trading. As you can see, there's been a dramatic change of investor sentiment. I just wrote that one down. And LGIH, nice J-hook pattern. Wouldn't be afraid to be buying this one on positive trading tomorrow. Cree, another one that's doing a good pattern. Not real anything real energetic just yet, but one I wouldn't be afraid to be buying if this market isn't showing a heck of a lot of weakness in the morning, which apparently it's going to. So when I say you want to buy these on strength, you want to see positive trading and that the market's not falling out of bed. If the market's falling out of bed again and the stock opens positive, just wait around to see whether they're still buying it or people are going to start selling it off. STX, stay long until you see a sell signal. And BABA, Yes, you can be going short on this one. The oil fund, have to see what it does after hours tonight. Right now it's trading down a couple bucks or so, I think. So if it opens weaker tomorrow, then you watch for the bobble, which means they're going to bring it back to the T line and then see what it does at that level. Micron, retro. Micron also starting to show signs of strength, but still needs to get above this downtrending channel. STZ. Constellation, as long as it stays above the T line right now, you stay with it. Starbucks. Get ready to close this one out if it opens weaker tomorrow. Kroger. Same thing. This one needs to open positive. If this opens lower, you've got a bearish J-hook pattern in progress. Boeing. Same scenario. Bearish J-hook pattern. And Tesla. Tesla is having trouble getting above this little trend channel right here. If it opens lower, I would probably take profits if I had profits and close it out and then wait to see if it can get back up above that downtrending channel. BTU. BTU is still a big fry pan bottom. You can still be buying this one. Oh, Don, I will be short more tomorrow. I'd closed out a lot of positions, so I've been sitting pretty much in cash, except I've been trading a few of the commodity positions like cattle, wheat, and crude oil for the last few days. Just waiting to see. The only real longs I have is Apple, which will be closed out tomorrow if it opens weaker. And I've got some calls in GMCR and HRTX. And I got some calls in WIN. Those are on my little trading account. The other accounts, I would guess we're about 30% short right now. OCAT, nice little J-hook pattern and bobble. You can buy this one on strength with the anticipation that if it comes up through the 50, you've got a good bobble breakout, J-hook pattern. Art, this one you can be buying. Just make sure your volume is good. UHS, looks like a blue ice failure. If this one opens weaker, anticipate they can take this all the way down to the 200-day moving average. JP Morgan has to stay above the T-line. Again, I never trade this one, but it's a good market indicator as well as Goldman that if they're acting strong, the market's going to stay strong. Procter & Gamble, you can be short this one. I wouldn't be long this one until it gets back up above the T-line, and I wouldn't trade Procter & Gamble because that's kind of the epitome of institutional stocks. That's held probably in almost every institution account. King, same scenario. It has to open positive. If it opens weaker, you want to be looking to go short. Dominion, another one that you could be going short. Let's see, we did BABA. I think I've got BABA, yes, on the short list. Be ready to short this one. ConocoPhillips, I guess, who was it? Buffett? Did he take a big position in ConocoPhillips in the last few days? I think he did. Stay long until you see a sell signal. And AXDX, another good looking chart. You can be buying this one as long as it doesn't close below the T line. And TTI, J-hook pattern, you can buy this one on positive trading. FXC, the Canadian dollar, showing a little bit of strength. You can be buying this one. I'd rather see it break out. I'd rather buy it on strength, seeing it break out to that level. Bold. Get ready to go short. This one failed. Came up. Now back below the T line. I'd get ready to short that one. We did OCAT. PBY. Little scoop type pattern. Stay long at this. Yeah, stay long, but I'd use the 50 as a stop. It shouldn't come back down through there. SWH. SWHS, is that Smith & Wesson? SWKS, Skyworks, that's having a hard time getting up through the 200. Cody, another one that has got the cup and handle. Stay long on this as long as it stays above the T line. HNR, good looking chart. Just be careful of the volume. Make sure it's good volume. I think it is. Silver Wesson, Wheaton. Hasn't been able to get back up above the T line yet, but the gold stocks look like, especially if the market starts selling off tomorrow, the gold stocks should pick up some steam. FNV, right on the T line. Any positive trading, especially if it gets through the 50, you can be buying this one. We did the oil fund. I would watch for profit taking. Right now it's dropping. I shorted some short-term oil contracts right before we started, and they're up $1,000 anyways. Tazar. Stay long, but be careful of this opening lower after the doji. It's going to come back and test the T line and then see what it does from there. ATNM, nothing exciting yet on this one. At this point, you can see the 50 is acting as a resistance. I'd be watching to see what it does at that level. And Gene needs to stay up above the T line, and it needs to break this downtrending channel. If you're long, you stay long, but it has to open positive. Tomorrow, if it opens weaker, you close it back out. OVAS. Nancy, usually prices on oil, like anything else, after a long downtrend, they get oversold, and then they'll at least rebound them back up into a level. That's why sometimes charts are good. I mean, some entities have a good trading chart, and then once it gets up to a level, it just kind of bobbles in there for a while because that was the equilibrium area that everybody was looking for. So a lot of times when something is selling off, they sell it off past the levels that it should be sold. And bounces back up to those levels and then hovers there for a while. OVAS, another one that can be shorted on weakness tomorrow. A bearish doji sandwich confirming a bearish J-hook pattern. And Dave, nothing here yet. Would have wanted to see it get more confirmation, break our channel. If this opens lower, you shouldn't be long. The downtrending channel is still in progress. ZIV, stay short. CVS, you can get ready to go short on this one, yes. I'm writing down a lot of these shorts because I'll probably be adding short positions tomorrow. And UNP, another failure. If this opens weaker, you can be shorting it. IPHT, not found. And PBYI, nothing here yet either. We've got kind of that little scoop pattern. At this point, let's make this more dynamic. At this point, it definitely needs to break this area, which means it puts you right to the 50. I'd rather buy this once it got up through the 50. CMCM, be ready to go short on this one. IPXL, same scenario, be ready to go short on this one. And Fastenal, same scenario. If this opens lower, you got a bearish J-hook pattern. U.S. Steel. U.S. Steel has to open positive tomorrow to stay in it. If it opens lower, it's going to move in the direction of how they open it after a doji. Addis. Addis, I probably wouldn't be long or short. That's a sideways chart, not showing you any direction. I'd have my money elsewhere. Does your analysis indicate any possibility of a major market correction? I have no idea, William. I have no idea what the market is going to do from here. All I do is see what the market is telling us it's doing. So right now, it's telling us that if they open this weaker, which it looks like they are, this market's still rolling over in a bearish J-hook pattern. There could still be a good amount of downside yet. And so that means you want to be orienting yourself toward the short side. MCP or MCEP, you can buy this one on strength because that would be breaking this downward trend channel. With the anticipation that your next target would be the 50. I had a question on waves. Could you show with your arrow slowly where exactly one wave starts and one's end? I'm having trouble seeing the starts and stops of waves. They don't have to be exact. Let's see, which ones were we looking at that had J-hook patterns? Yeah. Shows butts. When. If we're looking at this as a J-hook pattern, just whatever this move was, doesn't matter where you started, just be approximate. It started at approximately the $4.50 level, ended at approximately 7. So that you can calculate, that was about a 2.5 point move. Somewhere right in here where this next wave is starting, let's say it's 6 3/4 or even 7, 2.5 points moves takes you up into the 950 range. Because this wave right here is going to be the same as this wave right here as far as magnitude. But it doesn't have to be exact. This is a wave 1. This is a wave 2. We're getting ready for wave 3. So you just kind of visually, again, it doesn't have to be exact. There's a wave. There's a potential of another wave. Ego is one of the oil companies that should have a good-looking chart. Yeah, it doesn't. Oh, that's a gold company. That one still needs to get back up above the T line. And GG also is trying to get back up above the T line. You can see there's cup and handle type setups on the gold stocks right now. On ABC, it's still closed below the T line. So this, remember, just the probabilities are that if you're below the T line, you got more downside prospects. If they close it up above the T line, the probabilities of moving higher are that much greater, or are greater. XOM stayed above the T line, so you stay long on this one using the T line as your stop. Why aren't those calls on your options program? Some of them are just quick trading, Brett, but I think, I haven't been putting them in the, they will be in there. I'll have some calls and puts in there. With the market being as slow and choppy as it has been up until this point, there was really no patterns to identify. During this time frame, it was just too choppy. I think we did put some puts. I put out the put recommendation on Apple, and then we covered it down here. So I will have some more recommendations on the options area, in the options area. ACAD, get ready to go short on this one if it opens weaker tomorrow. You had a left-right combo today. Even though it wasn't in the overbought condition, it did close back below the 200 and the T line. And PSX, it was Phillips that, which one did he? Oh, he bought Phillips 66. You could be buying this one if it comes up through the 50 and continuing to show strength. Okay, all right, thank you, Don. It was SWHC, Smith & Wesson. This one you can be buying. More than likely, you're going to be in a 45 degree. I would hold this and use the T line and or the low of that day as my stop. Verizon, nothing to get excited about here one way or the other. I wouldn't be trading Verizon at all. There's no direction to it. Even on this big reversal type move, it's still not going anywhere. John, some of the commodities like the dollar, crude oil, those type of things are traded practically around the clock. Let's see, AST, that's a good looking chart. If it opens positive tomorrow, I wouldn't want to see it trade back below today's open, but that's got your kind of your slow curve in progress. And ACI did get to the first major resistance level up here at the 200. I'd watch to see how they open this one tomorrow. If they open it weaker, I'd take profits, anticipating a bobble in progress. Oh, LV, yeah, that's a This is a J-hook. This is wave 1. So we're not counting wave 1 and knowing that wave 3 is coming. We're counting that this was a move. This is a J-hook pattern in progress, that we can expect this wave to be the same as this wave, looking at it from hindsight. What about the 200 MA? I don't know what the question is, Mario. ARTH. That's not coming up. William Brothers. Also having a hard time staying up above the T line. I'd watched for a lower open tomorrow. If I was long, I'd be out of it. Latrice, the options area is a separate service. We don't promote it because it's just another service. It's a paid service, but it's to keep the option people talking options in the options room so that they're not cluttering up the conversation over in the regular room. So if you're an options trader, you want to, if you want to join that room, you get a lot more strategies over there, what people are buying and selling based on the patterns. And to get there, you email Abraham at candlestickforum.com, and he'll give you the details. Guild, get ready to short this one on any weakness tomorrow. All right. S.ARTH. Still not coming up. The S is to signify that it's a stock. UWTI, the long crude, yeah, you can trade it. Just be careful of what about any profit taking tomorrow. All right, I don't know why it's not working here. Okay, let's call it a night. Oops, I've kept you way past your bedtime. All right, we'll see everybody back here bright and early in the morning. We'll see you then.